And where have you been, little girl? Where have you been? Where have you been?
Me?
You.
I don't know. I've been here.
No, I didn't see you. I sent you some DMs and stuff about some spaces you should have listened to. They were very, very good.
I think I was listening like a lot of times from the gutter, but like which ones were the
Oh,
ones
you
that
were
were
listening in the gutter.
sometimes, yeah.
What compels one to listen into from the gutter?
I don't know. Just like I mean, I'm like multitasking. I don't want to be in and out and
Oh,
like
got it.
and I want to like give you the credit, you know. I want to hear what you're saying first of all, but it also still gives you the listeners, you know?
That's sweet. Yeah, I often wonder why people listen from the gutter. So typically,
Yeah, I wasn't spying.
well, you don't need to spy. Why would you need to spy when you can listen to the recording
I
afterwards?
know. I'm not working with the Qataris yet.
No, the Qataris don't spy either. They come and they sit in your space for 3 months straight, like they did to me at the beginning of the war.
Nice.
Yeah, they have no shame. Did you watch Tucker's podcast about his CIA investigation?
I did not. I
Oh,
want to know what is going on.
yes. So I was right. Now, listen. Do you know that Game of Cups, like in New York, where they try
Yeah.
to distract you and everything? Well, he says it's because of Iran, but it's really because of his relationship with the Russians. So, but we're gonna pretend. We'll pretend. We like to play along. How did none of us think of? How did none of us think of the kid Carlson? We did. We did.
But the thing is his son is also working
Yes.
for JD, right?
Yes.
So that's a bit concerning.
Well, it's 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 less concerning because I don't think his son is I don't think that's a problematic touch point. Let's put it this way.
I hope not. I mean, I do like JD Vance, honestly. Even though he's some people do like giving him crap, I like him.
Yeah. So let me play for everybody. I guess you guys didn't realize that this was coming. I said it in my spaces. Said it in my spaces.
I just want to ask something. Is regarding like the fact that he lied also about he was basically lying about Iran a lot. I mean, it might not be
He's
specifically
been
about
lying
Iran.
about everything every single day on his podcasts. First
To the
person he
point
had
where
on
it
his
really
new show was
endangers the
Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, who was backed by what allegedly Albanian mafia in Romania, and who had who had relationships with the whole RT infrastructure and the whole manosphere stuff,
stay
which
classy,
is a
Andrew
Russian op.
Tate.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Allegedly. All right.
Alleged.
Shabwato.
Hi, Shvatov. Okay, so I'll just play you guys what's going on. So this had to do with I think initially this had to do with them noticing the noticers noticing his statement about the Mossad was doing stuff in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, but it was really Iran. So it gave them enough ability to say, or for him to publicly say, that they're looking into him for that. So if you're able to monitor, like a body, what do you call it? Um, like the, I don't know, signals from. First of all, it's very obvious. Like if you know people who used to be drinkers and are no longer drinkers and go back to drinking, you can see certain signs of. It looks like he's allegedly started drinking again, from what I've heard and from what I've seen. But using, yeah.
That's not very
This is
Islamic of him,
so. My
though.
friend Barbie just tweeted out. My friend, this is very funny. Listen, listen.
Russia, so I know propaganda when I see it. And I have recently noticed that these tactics are being used in America. So let's talk about it. Because with Russia, I'm talking about Alexei Navalny. Navalny led an anti-corruption organization and was considered Putin's most powerful political opponent. In 2020, the Russian security agents tried to assassinate Navalny using a very poisonous nerve agent, but he miraculously survived, only to die in Russian prison in 2024 under very suspicious circumstances. One would think that all roads led to Kremlin, but not so fast. So let's break down some successful distraction techniques used to muddy the waters. Step 1, pick your moment and don't waste it. Strike when the emotions are the highest. When Navalny's death was announced and his wife Yulia was grieving in front of the whole world, the machine was activated. Step 2, find a woman to blame. This is the oldest trick in a book, and Russians have perfected it. When Navalny died, the machine did not defend Putin. The only thing they did was shift the attention from Putin to his wife, Yulia. Was she involved? Where was she? Did she get money? Did she have an affair? Her tears are fake. She doesn't have tears. Questions/claims do not have to be truthful at all. They just need to be frequent, and they need to be loud. Step 3, ignore the obvious. No matter how obvious it may seem, even if they record a phone conversation from an agent detailing exactly how they did it, you just need to ignore it. Step 4, ask questions but never make claims. This one is the golden rule of propaganda. Accusations through implication. So never say things directly like, she did it, because that is provably wrong. Instead, say things like, well, don't you find the timing interesting? Well, I'm just asking questions because this will cause devastating damage, yet you stay legally safe. Step 5, flat, repeat, normalize. Post it, clip it, broadcast it. By the time the claims are being debunked, nobody's watching the debunking. Propaganda moves fast and truth moves slow. And that is the whole name of the game. Now let's talk about Charlie Kirk. Moments before Charlie was shot, an audience member asked him, do you know how many mass shooters in America in the past 10 years have been transgender? Which he replied to, too many. The timing is incredible considering the fact that the man who fired the bullet, Tyler Robinson, had a trans romantic partner and said explicitly that he killed Charlie Kirk over his view on that exact issue. Of course, there's a list of other proof against Robinson. He was caught on camera. His DNA was on a murder weapon. His footprints were on a roof. The rifle used was a gift from Robinson's own grandfather, and this was confirmed by Robinson's father. The bullet from Kirk's neck would ballistically match that exact rifle. His own parents recognized him, and his father turned him in. Of course, none of this matters, so let's bring out the propaganda machine to take away the attention from the radical left. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4, Step 5. 2 widows, 2 countries, 2 different political worlds, yet the same playbook and the same pivot. And the machine points you towards the grieving wife instead of the obvious perpetrators. It is not because the wife is guilty. It's because they need you to look the other way.
Tucker Carlson.
So that's funny. So this is my friend, and her husband is my friend as well. So I find this very funny that she's
Who is the speaker?
It's Laura Bond. I mean, she's putting her life at risk and her husband's life at risk.
Yeah,
her
no
husband's
kidding.
Iranian Jewish plastic surgeon. I've known, my God, for 20 years. Maybe longer. I've known him. Yeah. So it's very funny to me that Barbie shared her. I've been trying to not share her stuff because I didn't want to put her in risky way. But this is. I'm glad she said it. I'm glad she's doing it. So it's very good. It's very good. This is. I mean, you have to understand from the moment after Charlie Kirk's assassination, there was Elizabeth Lane was deployed and was running her narrative, and then she made it to Tucker's show, which she glazed him for an hour. Her background in Georgia and Russia is more than obvious, and then from there she tried to get an alternative lawyer. She's said she was in court. She was living there covering the Skinwalker Ranch allegedly right before the timing of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So then she's with Kira Cow on stuff. She's on Spaces, and gets beaten up by which was interesting, like verbally, like kind of pushed out by the fake white nationalists who are really IRGC guys, which is kind of funny to me. So there's 2 things that are going on. There's the Russian and the CC op, and they tag between each other back and forth, especially after a political assassination like this. And then you have all the Dugin infrastructure and the Dugin video. So I'm gonna play first Tucker's statement, and then I'm gonna play you exactly what was said. So everybody can retweet the space, please. Thank you.
Can I just ask you what you think about John Kirkow?
Yeah, what do you mean? He's being paid by the Russians. What do you mean?
Thank God. Okay.
He should be in jail. Yeah, he should be in jail.
Yeah, all these former CIA people that are now influencers.
There's
or
former
now,
military guys that are running around for
people.
CARE and the Neville Singham operation for these like the guy Grims or Brian Grims or Tony Aguilar or any of those former U.S. servicemen that are being paid by the Code Pink Neville Singham operation, the whole Cuba stuff, everything that's going on with Cuba. It's disgusting. They're traitors.
Stealth.
Traitors.
Quick,
Yeah.
there is a guy that I know. He's a guy that has a certain influence, and he just said that that Tucker should be able to speak due to the First Amendment. I'd like your opinion about this topic.
No, he's running foreign malign influence operations, and and during a time of war, he's communicating and disseminating it. That's espionage. So no, there's a difference.
Can I add that he can
So the other day
speak? He can definitely speak, but if he's working for a foreign agency, he needs to be.
He
should
cannot
be
speak
listed
to
as a foreign
sanctioned
agent.
individuals that we're in the middle of a war with. No, these are sanctioned individuals. Dugin is sanctioned. These are sanctioned individuals since 2016. You cannot be speaking to Dugin and doing what you're doing and going to Russia. He was monitored when you go to Russia for Dugin and Putin anyways, because we were times of war. You can't do this. You cannot.
This is true.
You cannot say that you cannot get information from spies and then share it publicly within 2 hours when our own intel agencies were unaware of what was going on the ground in Qatar and Saudi Arabia. He has to be careful that the Saudis and the Qataris, whoever they're going to hire, are not going to kill him, chop him off like they did Khashoggi. This is not a joke. I mean, listen, if he runs to Russia, he's not going to have a good time over there either. I mean, or China. They're not going to.
Wow, that would be my
They're going
fantasy.
to fillet him.
MBS, like just doing a Khashoggi on him.
Listen. You can't. I mean, can you imagine how pissed the White House? I mean, how pissed they were, and how pissed the White House is when you put out, listen, doesn't matter what spy in Qatar told him the information, but when you're speaking, he said, I was speaking to somebody. You haven't heard what he said. So
that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report, to the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war. They read my texts.
Not before, during.
So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or
Not
something like
just,
that,
not
acting as
just.
an agent of a foreign power. And I don't expect this to go anywhere. I'm not too worried about an actual criminal case against me for a bunch of reasons.
Just so you know, he's sweating and beyond nervous. He can say out everything he wants to project like he's a victim. So he's framing things beforehand. He's about to tell you that he's a victim and he's losing his freedom of speech, and that he's like Snowden, who's a traitor, and like Assange, who's, well,
Stuff, but
Where
it
did
he's
Snowden
was
also a
run
piece
to?
of shit.
it was
Snowden ran
said
Hold
to
on,
that
hold on, Victor. Hold on, everybody. Just relax. I'm going to talk. You're going to listen. It's school time.
One, I'm not an agent of a foreign power. Unlike a lot of people commenting on U.S. politics and global affairs, I have only one loyalty, and that's the United States, and have never acted against it. Its interests are the only interests I care about because I'm from here and I have a lot of kids. So that's not a concern. I've also never taken money from anybody. Don't need it, don't want it, and that's provable. And moreover, it's my job to talk to everybody all the time and try and figure out what's happening around the world. That's literally what I do for a living, and I'm not going to stop doing that. Nor should I don't think. I'm also an American. I can talk to anybody. I have no secrets to divulge. So legally, I think the case is ludicrous, and I doubt it will even become a case. I'm bringing this up for a couple of reasons, though, and they're pretty obvious. One is that countries tend to become more authoritarian in wartime. It's just the nature of war. People are dying. The stakes are high. People's emotions have risen to a very high point, to a crescendo. And so there's much less tolerance for any kind of dissent in the homeland. The irony, of course, is the United States fights wars on behalf of freedom, but there's always less of it here in our country during war. So that's a widely recognized phenomenon, and it's likely to happen now, too. Another point to make that is worth knowing is that the USIC, the intelligence agency, spy on Americans. Now, you probably knew that, and it's been revealed a lot, including by Julian Assange and Ed Snowden, both of whom were threatened with death for revealing it, but everyone knows. But it's probably a little more widespread than most people understand, and it's outrageous. There's no justification for your government, which you own, you're a shareholder in it, you pay for it, to be violating your privacy like this. But it happens all the time. And in fact, one of the reasons that CIA or people within CIA, just to be clear, it's a huge, sprawling, disconnected agency. What it does in a specific case doesn't represent what everybody in the building thinks, but there are some people who are mad at me for my views about Israel. And they have some latitude. And one of the reasons they pass on criminal complaints, in effect, to law enforcement is to justify warrants for spying on Americans. So that is an absolutely real thing. But the main reason they do it is to leak the existence of the investigation, such as it is, to the media, and then humiliate and terrify the subjects of this op. And that's, of course, happened to me repeatedly, many times, including in famously 2021 when I was still at Fox News and trying to set up an interview with Vladimir Putin. And the NSA, I heard from someone there, had grabbed my text messages with an American citizen and had leaked them to news outlets. Those texts were basically my attempts to set up an interview with the foreign head of state, and they leaked them to the New York Times in order to stop the interview, which they successfully did, by the way. And they admitted that they were spying on me. This is not a fantasy. It actually happened. They did it again 2 years later. My second attempt to get a Putin interview, I managed to get it anyway, and they've done it since. And so when you get a call from a reporter who knows the contents of your texts, it's pretty clear something's going on. None of this, in my judgment, as of right now, is a huge threat to me. So I'm not making this video to complain about it or whine or ask you to send me money because I'm under attack. I'm saying it because it's true, and you should know what your own government is doing, and you should know what the stakes are. And you should know that a lot of what happens in this country that affects outcomes happens behind the scenes. Some of it is legal, some of it is not, including what I'm describing now. But it has an effect. And the intel agencies, again, not everyone in the intel agencies, because there are decent, hardworking Americans who work in the intel agencies. They're Americans, just like there are decent, hardworking Americans who work at the DMV. But there are also people with agendas and grudges and no sense of restraint who are happy to misuse the power they have granted them by our elaborate secrecy laws to hurt fellow Americans for ideological reasons. That is entirely real. That's the story of Russiagate. And it's likely that things like that will begin to happen at greater scale now. So you should just know that going forward. Thanks.
Okay, so you have the framing. Let me walk you down the path. Everybody retweet the space of what this looks like. So if you are speaking to sanctioned individuals, that's why Alex Jones did not go in person to Russia for the Russia project, whatever, 2025 thing that it was, where there was Dugin there and everything, because he was sanctioned, and Alex Jones was well aware of the concerns of that, so he zoomed in. There's others that went. Elon Musk's father was dragged there. He's an easy target because of his son, and he needs money, so they'll bring people like that. But for you to understand what's going on is when you're engaging and communicating with U.S. foreign adversaries, expect to have the NSA to listen to you. I'm sorry. That's how it works. If you're really a proud American, you will understand that. Now, if you're working on behalf of the American government, because you want to go to a foreign country and do an interview, you do it as if you're an asset, as a proud American. You do it as if you're trying to gather information. And it's a learning trip. And certain questions will then be asked for you to ask of them if you're really trying to be. His father did it. Tucker's father was not originally in the CIA. He was brought in because of what he was doing. Eventually. It wasn't like, started off at 18 years old as a CIA officer. The whole point is his father was a Sovietologist. He was a pro-American. He was a staunch child of the world, our anti-Soviet Cold War efforts. His father ran Voices of America to push pro-American propaganda throughout the world, which we needed because this is an anti-communist movement. We're in a Cold War right now with basically another it's like anti-Maoist, anti-communist. Essentially, it's the same thing at this point. An anti-fascist, which is what you're seeing occurring right now, even in China. China's less of a Maoist revolution than what really is a new form of fascism. But anyways, the CCP is going to be all over my ass too. But anyways, so there's people. If you look at the guest list of who, Rodin, are you excited, Rodin? It's happening.
Oh
Everything
my God,
I said
I'm
is
so
coming.
excited. I can't
Cute.
stand
I know. I'm warming it up. I told you guys what was coming. Remember our call that we had the other night? Okay. So if you look at the guests that he had on his show, there's been a narrative formation on the show, right? There's people that he's filled in, Ted Cruz, how could be others that he's done, and there's certain feeder, but the messages always stay very consistent. And there's some other big podcast guys who are running very close to the sun right now, that they're playing with the same kind of old school Russian propaganda tactics. But there's certain guests he had on his show, and Laura's very excited because she's like, I'm going to take credit because of his Islamic stuff that he was doing with the Islamists. Listen, he met with Dugin. He's literally his every single one of his podcasts mirrors the the Owens report, and it was so interesting. If it wasn't for his interview with Buckley, I wouldn't have looked up.
I just want to butt in real quick.
Yeah, what?
The interview with Dugin was 2024 in April, and this is documented. This is not something that is a hypothesis. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Of course it is. Everybody knows this. It's very public.
Just so it's known.
Nothing I say is hypothesis. These are documented things. These are his guests on his show and people he's interviewed. He spent over 8 hours with Dugin. So did Bannon. So did Candace Owens and her husband, George Farmer. I bet you we're going to find Andrew Tate as well. Largest podcast host on Twitter was with Dugin, with Judge Napolitano, with some very interesting individuals in Russia. So anyways, Judge Napolitano was asking for a pardon for Kirikow right now through the administration, a former judge, Fox News guy. So anyways, we have a serious problem. If you guys can see some of my cryptic tweeting, because I have to be at least cryptic as possible. So for me, the telltale sign was Robert Armstrong with the son of the Armenian who's in jail in Armenia. And also about the Russian Orthodox Church with Ukraine stuff. That the Robert Armstrong guy, the guy who does have a FARA application, many. Jeffrey Sachs, bringing Jeffrey Sachs so many times, who has over 97 applications with the CCP, I think, and Russia and Turkey and everybody else he promotes and talks about. So when you see the group of people that he's been inviting, even the guy from Ben and Jerry's who's a commie, like an actual commie, and his relationships with the Neville Singham operation or United Front groups and all that, you can tell by those sheer agents. But that one Robert Armstrong interview is what really, for me, solidified what was going on. And it was interesting because the young Armenian guy who came on, he kept trying to prod him about Israeli arms sales to Azerbaijan. And the guy's like, yeah, that's not really a big thing. And you could just see him pushing it. He's like, that's not what I'm here to talk about. It was his fathers that tried to take down the Armenian government by running a subversion through the Russian Orthodox Church inside of Armenia because they didn't like the leader. And they arrested his father and he put him in jail. So Robert Armstrong is the mouthpiece for this guy's father. And they're advocating through Tucker's, because he's got a lot of relationships with the very heavy-handed, pro-Russian sphere inside of the White House. This has nothing to do with Trump. Trump doesn't care. Trump is transactional, and you're not willing to sign a peace deal with us, Russia, and you're making us problems. He doesn't care, like, what the narrative shaping is. So, but that interview was for me the clinch. And then when he interviewed Elizabeth Lane, our resident, the Georgian Russian ballerina, who was coincidentally the day after Charlie Kirk was died, already on their way to get a new lawyer for Tyler Robinson. I'm sorry. Like, could just, like, can we get some better quality? Like, even that chick that was on Sean Ryan's show, the blonde Asian, was she from Kazakhstan or whatever, that honeypot video, that was for me. When Sean did that, it was like, okay, boys, like, we know what's going on here. And she's like teaching women coaching exercises, how to be women in America. She talks about her experience being a professional KGB honeypot, or, well, I guess it was FSB at the time because of her age. Now I'm trying to think the years. Yeah. And she's from the stands. So the minute you do stuff like this and you bring these people on, it's like, come on, man, you can't, you're a total target. All these people are targets, and there's, everybody's like, we can't explain how Tucker has suddenly changed. Every time Tucker says, I have a lot of kids, I'm like, you've got 3 children. Somebody who says I have a lot of kids means, wait, do you have kids that we're not aware of with, like, other people? Perhaps are you being, I don't know, intimidated? Are you being coerced? Are you an asset? I'm just asking questions. I mean, he's asking questions. He can say lies 24/7 out of the day, and nobody's able to sue him, right? And so now he's got his ass into a little bit of a problem. I can tell you that the mistake he made was by saying that there was Mossad in Qatar and Saudi Arabia trying to blow things up when it was the IRGC, and whoever he was speaking to, not before the Iran war started, which would be interesting if it was that, because he came to the White House so many times. So was he communicating back and forth and being tasked and told to go to the White House to speak to certain individuals on behalf of Iran, or on behalf of somebody who's trying to push on behalf of Iran that's actually Russian? So all I'm going to say is that I would not want to be Tucker Carlson right now. I would be afraid if I was him to run to Russia. It's not a good experience for him. They're gonna spend a year filleting that salamander to ask him a lot of questions to get any bit of information they can out of him. And I can just say, like, anybody that decides to, I don't know, leak against the American government and then flee and seek exile or whatever refuge. I mean, you've seen what David Duke looks like when he came back after 5 years being in Moscow. See what he looks like? He looks like Skeletor walking around, like a dried. I don't know what he is. Dried. I don't know. Raisin. I mean, like, listen, stay in America. It's safer here. Stay here. Better if you go to jail here than to be over there and be tortured for the rest of your life. That's my opinion. But I'm a very patriotic American, so I don't know what to say.
Well, they have to work. They have to work their ass off over there. They work 12,
No, no,
14
no.
hour days in prison. They don't just sit there.
Yeah, they're doing interesting stuff over there. Carolina, how are you?
Oh, it's interesting. I'm in Missouri. Well, and then heading on to Arkansas after. But okay, so I have a quick question. So are we not saying allegedly anymore? We're just gonna put all the
I said
material out
allegedly.
now?
No, Tucker is. I mean, did
No.
you not hear what Tucker said? He
No,
said
I
he's under CIA
did.
investigation.
No,
So
no, 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 no.
why do I
I'm
have to say
talking about the
allegedly?
other thing, the honeypotting one. I'm asking about, are we
Which
putting all the
honeypot?
are we putting the receipts about the honeypot part with the Dugin?
I mean,
Or did I miss something?
oh,
Did
you
you
mean when I
post the
stated that
receipts?
Tucker was honeypotted by Dugin?
Yes.
Should I put parody on my account? I'll put parody. Would that make you
Yeah,
feel better?
yes, thank you. I only came here to, remind everybody the friendly, allegedly. That's all.
Let me add. Where should where do I put it? I go to settings. Where do I go?
Just change your handle to stealth allegedly.
Should I do that?
Yes. Everything in my bio, you should put on the bio, like everything I say literally is allegedly.
All right,
It's
let me
not
do it
true
right now.
though. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you're saying. I mean, I'm actually looking at this
It's all
article right now.
verifiable, but
Yeah.
here, I'll do it for
Okay.
you. I'm
I
gonna do it
found
for
an article.
Yeah,
Carolina.
you know for me because
I'm gonna do it for
I
Carolina because she loves
I found an
me.
article called "The Dugin Network: Multipolarity, Traditionalism, and Transnational Liaisons in the West," from January 2026 by Eric
Can
Charles
you,
Piccoli.
can you put that in the upper bubble for me?
Oh, I absolutely will. It's pretty interesting.
Wait, she can put articles in the upper bubble.
I won't put it in the upper bubble. I'll put it in Poe.
Yeah, because it's going
Put
to
it in
crash your
different
No,
ways.
space.
it's okay. Send it to me too. Hi Bree, how's everybody? Hi, Miss Angel.
Hey, I'm
Hi,
just
Miss
laughing.
Ray.
Hi.
Just laughing,
Was I
laughing.
not
This
right?
is
Was I not right?
Oh, you
well,
were right.
I
You were
think there's
more than right.
additional issues, Tucker, that you need to look at because you think the CIA is just going after your communications with the Iranians.
Yeah, that's not what they're going after. That's
No.
not what they're going after.
Hey, I
I
mean,
don't think. I mean, yeah. I mean, let's talk about Iran and Qatar and Russia and who else have you been talking to, Tucker?
Representatives of our
right?
Armenian government, representatives of Nigerian government, that guy Robert Armstrong. Let's see, representatives of the CCP, which would be Jeffrey Sachs, representatives of the Turks, which would be Jeffrey Sachs.
It's a little problematic there.
It's just a little problematic.
I
This
don't
guy's
know.
very
Like,
articulated.
No, he's not very articulated at all. He's not at all very articulated. Bree,
Well,
let me explain to you.
maybe when Megan Kelly posted about Mark Levin, she meant Tucker Carlson was a micro penis.
No,
Did you
no.
see that
Goodness
post?
No,
gracious.
no, that's not the problem.
What a post. What a
Oh God.
ridiculous post.
I didn't
Like
hear. Wait,
this
she's gonna post today.
Lent.
I haven't seen anything on the internet today. All I
Oh
was
my
sent was
God. You missed that?
all
It's on the upper
the
bubble.
whole day I missed. All that mattered was this, like this video. So have you listened to it,
Well,
Carolina?
that's because of Operation Shabbat Shalom. I mean,
That's because I did Shabbat Shalom. Yes.
that's the reason
Yeah,
why, because of that
he's blaming the
operation.
Jews. He said he thinks it's the Jews inside
Well,
of the CIA.
it's not just him. There's a lot of people who believe in this Operation Shabbat Shalom, including like Jews. I don't know.
Really?
Well, they're not real
I
Jews.
mean,
They're
it's
the
an
what, Edomites?
operation. You guys
The ones
do you
that
guys
blame the
do
Jews.
Shabbat Shalom like every Shabbat, right?
Yes,
So
every
that's an
Shabbat. Yeah,
operation.
since the beginning of times. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean,
It's a long
Operation
op. It's a
Shabbat
very
Shalom
long
is
op.
well and
It's a
well
very
and
long
good.
op, but let me tell you, it's like it's
Yeah.
I don't
Tell us
know.
something new. You
What'd you
know,
say?
I said tell us something new.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, the long op. So Barbie found a video of my girl, one of my good friends, which I haven't posted her publicly because I actually told her to stop doing the shit because her husband's an Iranian Jew that I've known longer than my friend, and she puts out exactly what I've said since the beginning, that Candace Owens is running KGB tactics, a KGB op on and I didn't know that Candace had met with Dugin for 8 hours with her husband, which explains everything in Europe, which explains everything about Brexit, explains everything about the friend in the QAnon castle, which explains everything about Bannon. It's bad. It's very bad what we have going on. I cannot believe how bad it is. I really cannot believe how bad it is. So I'm
I
gonna.
mean, it's starting to be exposed. I mean, look, people are always going, if you're not associating with
I'm sorry.
good, true, and
I was
beautiful,
the
you're going to end
first
up being,
but
yep.
you need to understand, I was the first person to say that her narrative framing around Macron and Macron's wife has a penis was a sophisticated Russian op, and everybody's like, how are you
I
connecting
mean, there.
that?
Look, I'm not gonna go so far as to say it's sophisticated.
Uh,
I mean, because it's really not. It's
I mean, it was easy.
stupid.
Listen, it was easy for me to figure it out once I found those women online and they had sought refuge in Russia. The same
Allegedly.
allegedly. Well, they are. They're in Russia. That we publicly know this. They said it. It's all over the news. I mean, allegedly, yes,
I'm
but
just telling you, it's still stupid. That's the thing, is that this was targeting low information. The especially the women who
enough that the president would call her and tell her to stop what she's doing because it's affecting the
was
peace
it the
deals.
president?
Yeah, there was the United States president that called her. She said it on her show.
Yeah, that's what she said, didn't she?
Yeah. Yep. So
Because trust me, bro.
no, it she said it multiple times. She would not say that at the risk of, considering she's
Would she
already
not?
under. No, she
Would
wouldn't.
she not?
No, not something like that. No, no. Well,
I hear that there
who
was
called her is
someone
no
who,
longer in his position in the White House. So there, who brokered the first call,
yeah.
who happens to be, not from Malta, like we were told.
I
And
mean, are we sure it wasn't someone who was presenting themselves as Trump? There are a lot of people who have a lot of abilities to
she got
recreate
a direct call
some
from
sort.
two people from the White House, and that's nobody's refuted the president call her, and nobody's refuted anything else regarding that. Not even Dan Bongino.
Because it's so stupid.
It's not
I
so
DM'd
stupid.
you.
It's
This is
not
what
so
people are
stupid.
literally look
It's not
like.
so
You and I are
stupid.
we're gonna agree to disagree on this, because this is what people do all day. Like women who no longer have the chance, like they're not